Hey Retro fans, welcome to another episode of Retro Gaming Memories. In this episode we're going to talk about a few things, a couple of channel updates, some recent news, and a little topic that I was thinking about the other day there. So it's been a while since I've done a video. Nothing's been happening, it was just really that work's been busy, been setting up the new house and all that kind of stuff, and just general life things. And to be honest, I had kind of run out of things to say a little bit. I haven't really been collecting much, I haven't been buying much off of eBay or anything like that, so there's not been any collection update videos. My collection's pretty much where I want it to be honest. There's a few bits and bobs, but you know, so the update videos, there's not going to be that many of them, I don't think, unless something major happens. Who knows? So yeah, so everything's fine. I just thought I'd try and get back into this a little bit and talk about some nonsense. So a little bit of news first, and it all kind of ties into what I'm going to talk about. Arcade 1UP. Now you may remember I did a video a few videos ago about Arcade 1UP, and I was quite intrigued by their cabs. I really like the look of it. I really like the look of having a few of these cabinets because of the artwork and all that kind of stuff. Although they're 3/4 size cabs, I really liked the aesthetic of kind of what they were doing. Unfortunately, I had a little go of the Street Fighter 2 cabinet, and it wasn't brilliant. Some of the artwork had rubbed off the control panel and things like that, which was a common complaint that I'd heard from people in the US. They had posted up pictures in Walmart and all that kind of stuff, and the control panel artwork was just decimated. It was just white. The joystick and things on Street Fighter 2 wasn't brilliant either. I don't know if that was just because it had been abused in the shop on the demo model or whatever. Anyway, I quite like the idea of all these different cabinets and things. And I had got in touch with Arcade 1UP in the US to say, look, are you going to be selling these over here in the UK at any point? Because they weren't available, really. I had seen kind of a couple of people getting them in, but it seemed to just be kind of, I don't know if they were testing the market or whatever, but they were kind of hard to get. It just didn't make sense. It wasn't like the Arcade 1UP had said, right, we're going to sell these in the UK. It was like somebody had imported a few of them and was selling them or whatever. So at the time, there was about 6 or 8 cabinets available in the US. A couple of them were Walmart exclusive, like Pac-Man, and I think the Galaga Galaxian machine was a Walmart exclusive, and they weren't available in the UK. In the UK, we could get the Asteroids machine, and then ultimately the Rampage machine. Then for some reason, Space Invaders popped up, and we got Space Invaders in the UK before the US got it, which was totally weird. I don't know how that happened or why it happened or whatever. Anyway, I've still not succumbed to buying an Arcade 1UP cabinet. I did get in touch with Arcade 1UP to say, look, this was recently, to say, look, are you going to be selling your new line of cabinets? Because they've released the Mortal Kombat cabinet, which has got Mortal Kombat 1, 2 and 3, Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate in it. And also a Final Fight cab, which has got Final Fight, Strider, Ghouls and Ghosts in 1943. And these cabinets look pretty sweet. So I got in touch with Arcade 1UP and said, look, are you going to be selling these? And also, are you going to have the control deck, as they call it? I don't know why. The control deck protectors, because they sell, it's basically a bit of plexiglass to sit over the control deck, and it just screws in to stop the artwork getting rubbed off. Now they sell these on their site for $16 a piece, and they're obviously specific to each machine. But the reviews I've been watching of some of the cabs in the US, they come with the control deck protectors already. So I don't know if to appease customers or to save themselves having a lot of hassle replacing the artwork and all that kind of stuff. if they've just decided to put the control decks protectors in there. So I asked Arcade1Up, when you sell them in the UK, are they going to have the control deck protectors? And they said yes, they are. So it must be a standard thing that they're doing now. The control deck protectors will be there in the UK and the US, because at the time when they released the asteroids and all that kind of stuff here, they didn't have the support model in place. So if anything was broken on it, which was becoming kind of commonplace from reviews, there was no support network there, so you couldn't send it back to Arcade1Up to get it replaced, or to get replacement artwork or anything like that if it was damaged and things, or to order the control deck protectors. It was only US shipping and all that kind of stuff. So going forward, Arcade1Up are going to be supporting things, and they're, like I say, shipping the control deck protectors and all that kind of stuff. So it's a positive move in that direction. I still don't know that I'm going to get one. I kind of flip between loving the idea of it and then kind of having a reality check and thinking, no, wait a minute, this is stupid. Because I know, see, in the US they sell for between $1.99 and $2.99. That's as in hundreds, $199. In the UK they are £349 to £399. Now, 399 quid is a lot of money for a few bits of 18mm ply. Or MDF. Now they do look nice because of the artwork and all that kind of stuff. They look lovely, and that is a big appeal for me. I know at the heart of it, it's essentially a Raspberry Pi board running on a 17-inch monitor, blah blah blah. So, you know, it's not ideal, and they've got things like on the Centipede cab, they've got a vertical orientated monitor, but because it's got a trackball, they have Missile Command in there, which makes sense as a trackball. But it means that Missile Command is running in a tiny little box in the middle of this vertically orientated machine. So I think they would have been better splitting that out and making a more dedicated horizontal for like Missile Command and a few other kind of trackball games like Crystal Castles and things that are horizontal orientation. But hey, that's just me. Anyway, that's the kind of update on Arcade1Up. Like I say, I do kind of flip between the idea of these would be really nice to have because it's an instant arcade, and as I said in my previous video, I like that there's certain games per machine. You know, it's 2 or 3 games per machine. And whilst that seems limiting, because I know there's people love having 80 million MAME games and all that kind of stuff, too much choice is not a good thing. If you go in a MAME cab that's got 150,000 ROMs on it, you're scrolling up and down, you can't find anything to play. But if you go up to a machine that's dedicated to like 3 or 4 games, you're going to play those games. So I like that idea again. Although it is limiting, and you're going to have that thing where you're not going to have everybody's favourite game. Or it's not going to be quite right because the cab isn't dedicated to the game that you want. I'm thinking like Defender, for example. Defender's a great game to have in an arcade cabinet. It's not a great game to have in a 3-player Rampage cabinet where the buttons are all spread and there's a joystick in the middle. I've no idea why they put that in there, apart from the fact it was a midway cab. But hey, again, that's their decision, it's not mine. So I don't know, the Arcade1Up thing is nice if you don't have the skills to build a MAME cab and you just want an easy kind of nice looking cabinet, because they do look cracking. There's a guy on YouTube's got a home arcade, he's dedicated his kitchen and he's got every Arcade1Up cabinet that's been released, and it looks fantastic, it looks great. But I wouldn't be doing that even if I had the money to do it. And we don't have all the cabinets released over here anyway, so that's that paid. But anyway, that was just a quick update on Arcade1Up. Well, quick, Christ, it was about a 15-minute ramble about Arcade1Up. But if you are interested in an Arcade1Up cab, if you don't have the skills to build a MAME cab yourself, they are a pretty good alternative. You know, you can buy arcade cabinet shells, but you have to mount monitors and wire the joysticks and buttons and things and put your own PC or Raspberry Pi in it and all that kind of stuff. So if you don't have the technical know-how, if you're not that way orientated, you just want a nice machine to play some classic arcade games on, the Arcade1Up is a great way to go. So yeah, so that's the update on that. The next thing I was going to talk about was a little kind of topic that I thought of. I was trying to think of things to talk about again on YouTube videos, because like I say, I kind of ran out of things to talk about. You know, game room updates and all that kind of stuff, that's all kind of done for now. So I was trying to think of stuff, and ages ago I had started a list of topics to sort of talk about on videos, and I've got a few of them now. But one of them, while I was thinking about the whole arcade 1-up thing, and I was out checking my MAME cab, which is in the garage. I was checking it was still okay, because I hadn't actually fired it up for like 6 months since we moved house. So I wanted to check that that was okay and still working all right, and it was. And I had a little shot while I was out there, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to getting back into that. More on that later. But yeah, it got me thinking. The great thing about MAME cabs is that you can have all the games that you want, and some games you've never played or that you could never own, and all that kind of stuff. You can have your own defined little area of heaven, arcade heaven, in a box. However you play it, whether it's plugged into the TV or whether you have a cab or whatever. But there's downsides to having a MAME setup, and the first one is that you've got too much choice. Like I said, if you've got hundreds of ROMs on a machine, you're never going to play all of them. You probably struggle to find what you want to play, unless you're going up to play something specific. If you've got something in mind, you think, all right, I want to play this, and you go and play it. If you just walk up to a cab and start scrolling up and down, you're never going to find anything to play. That's why I don't really like these kind of EverDrive cartridges and stuff for various systems, because again, you're just reading a text list of stuff and you're going up and down, and you've nothing to inspire you to play something. So the amount of choice on a MAME cab is a great thing, but I think it's a bit of a negative as well. My MAME cab has 156 games in it, I think it has. I trimmed everything right down to games that I've got nostalgia for, or sequels to games that I've got nostalgia for, things I remember playing, or games by a manufacturer that I maybe hadn't played or were quite obscure. And I went through, and you know, I've watched videos on YouTube of top kind of MAME games and things like that, and excluding all the obvious ones that I know already, you pick a few ones up, and you know, you have a little go. You see them on a video and you think, all right, I'll give it a go. So you download it and you give it a shot, and it might be good and it might not be what you're looking for. But I then delete it back out the MAME cab. It doesn't stay in there and just fill up this big pile of shite. It's a very restricted list of games that I've got. And for me, that works better than having 80,000 games that I'm never going to play. So it's, yeah, I've totally lost what the hell I was talking about. But the choice of games on a MAME cab is great. But the other thing about a MAME cab is you have unlimited credits. You can just press a button to keep chucking credits into that thing, which is not what happened when you were in an arcade as a kid. So one of my main reasons for building a MAME cab was to be able to play these games as authentically as possible from a home rigged setup. I couldn't afford, I didn't have the space, and I couldn't afford to have the original cabinets, and I don't have the time or the knowledge to be able to support these cabinets, because there's a lot of electronics in them and you have to maintain that. You have to learn how to fix monitors and how to fix PCB boards and all that kind of stuff to maintain these machines, and I don't have the time or probably the energy to do that. So a MAME cab is a nice kind of halfway house for me. It's a PC, I know how they work. I can run any kind of debugging stuff I needed to fix stuff on a cab, and I've got enough electronics knowledge to be able to put the controls together and to be able to kind of fix them if any of that breaks. And because I've built my cabinet, I know it inside out, so if anything starts to go skew whiff, I know exactly how to fix it. So that's a really good thing for me. And what I've done with my MAME cabinet is I've got swappable control panels. I designed it to be swappable so that you can have a one-player setup, you've got a two-player setup, I've got a trackball setup, I've got a tank stick like Battlezone setup, I've got a spinner setup, and that allows me to play games like iCarry Warriors and all that kind of stuff as well, because I use a tank stick and the spinner to emulate the kind of iCarry kind of motion. And that works fine. And that was main cab version 1.0. And I'm very happy with it, and it's seen me really well. I'm actually running off into my last topic I was going to talk about, so let's park that there, right? We'll come back to that, just remember that. But what I was going to slaver about is the unlimited credits thing. Because you've got unlimited credits, you can just run through all these games and just play them start to finish and do your thing. But for me, the topic I was thinking about ages ago was arcade games that I love but have never completed. Now, like I say, when you were a kid, you maybe had a couple of quid in your pocket and you could go up and chuck 10 pences in it. But you had to think, when you finished your credit, right, I've got whatever, 50 pence left. Do I continue my game or have another go at this, or do I go and try some other game? Which you might be great at or you might not be. So you had to think about all that kind of stuff. You didn't have an unlimited pot of money to throw into the arcade cabinet. And it made you a lot more selective in trying your games and taking your time with stuff. So there are games and staples that I would always go to if I saw in an arcade. Games like Commando, Kung Fu Master, Green Beret, what else? Robocop, Shinobi. Quite a lot of violent games there. But these were all my favourite kind of games. And if I saw them in an arcade, I would always go up and chuck a few 10 pences into them. Now that list of games, I have never completed them. To this day, I've never completed them. And it will probably take me many years to complete them, because although I can go in my main cabinet, and this is the thing, right? You can go in your main cabinet and put in as many credits as you want, and you could play through, you know, all of those games in one sitting, no problem. You could play through Robocop in one go, you know, chuck a couple of quid into it and just play it through with your continues. But for me, if you do that, the game's done. I've seen the ending, you know, that was it. There's no real challenge in it, and chucking loads of 10 pences in and playing it right through. I did it once on my Neo Geo. I had the Neo Geo X a while back, and I played a game called Shock Troopers, and I chucked the equivalent, the virtual equivalent of £7 into that to complete the game, or whatever the equivalent was, but it was about £7. It was many continues to play a game, because it gets astronomically hard at the end of it. But I completed it, and I was like, yay, that's fine. And it took me about, I don't know, 40 minutes to run through it or something like that. And it was good fun, but I never ever touched that game again, because I'm like, well, I've completed it, what's the point? Now I know it's not going to be like that for every game. There are some games you'll go back and play and have a go of. But I'd be interested to know what you guys do. Would you like to just run through a game and complete it and say, right, I've done it, that's me, I'm happy with that? Or would you be more like me? I would prefer to throw a couple of 10 pences into it, literally, because I've got a coin mech on my arcade cabinet, but chuck a couple of 10 pences into it and play it like you did back in the day, and see how far your skill gets you. And you have to learn the game, and you have to learn the nuances of the game to be able to progress naturally, like you would have done back in the day. You know, you have to learn the little bits of the game, the finesse of what you're doing, and work it all out. I would prefer to do that and keep the challenge there. It keeps me coming back, as opposed to running through a game and that's it done. You know, it's a weird thing, I know, and it's probably something personal to me, but I'd be interested to know what you guys do. Would you rather rattle through a game and see the ending of it, or would you rather kind of try and do it off your own skill set and build that skill over time? So let me know what you guys would do. What do you think? Do you think I'm just being daft? And I know some of them, even once they're completed, I would go back and play them again, but I'd be interested to know what you guys think. So moving on to the last topic and the final topic, and I kind of drifted off talking about it 5 minutes ago. There's going to be a new channel, I suppose, a new sub-channel, whatever you want to call it. Because my actual room that you can see around about me is pretty much done as far as collecting and all that kind of stuff. There'll be odd swaps here and there, but there's nothing major that I want to get anymore, which is a really lovely and lucky position to be in, but at the same time, there's nothing much happening. But there are exciting things happening that aren't in this games room. When we moved house, I was extremely lucky to get a double garage. And I'm even luckier that my lovely supporting wife said to me, you should convert this into a big games room, convert it into an arcade. There aren't many wives that would say that. So yeah, there's going to be a new channel called The Handmade Arcade. I've been kind of thinking about it for a while, but that's what it's going to be, because I will be converting the games room, converting the garage into a games room. Now, it's not going to be a full arcade, simply because the power that's in the garage won't support it. But what it is going to be, so at the moment it's just a garage, it's just a double garage, there's no insulation and anything in there, so I've got a lot of work to do. So I'm going to be converting the garage myself. I'm just going to do it myself, and it'll all be recorded. There'll be hints and tips along the way, things I've learned, all that kind of stuff, in case you want to do something similar. But I'm going to be converting the garage, but I've got my main cabinet at the moment. That's my only kind of arcadey gaming machine. So there's a couple of bits going on. I'm basically going to rebuild part of my main cab. At the moment it's just a black cabinet and the control panels are black, and they've got budget controls in them. Because at the time I was building it, that's all I could really afford, because I was buying all this stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm redesigning a lot of the control panels. I'm splitting them out to be for more specific groups of games. So for example, Asteroids has got a very specific control setup, and it doesn't feel right playing Asteroids with a button and a joystick. You need that layout. So Asteroids Deluxe, there's a couple of others, I can't remember, and Pac-Land, bizarrely. It was a button thing originally. So I've got the Asteroids control panel overlay. I've got a good scan of that, and I've edited it in Affinity Photo, which is a kind of alternative to Photoshop. And I've added in space for an extra button and things like that to support the Asteroids Deluxe. I've changed some of the naming on it because I think in Asteroids, the hyperspace button, where that is in Asteroids Deluxe, it's a shield button. So I've got it saying hyperspace stroke shield, depending on what you're doing. And it's tweaked slightly and all that kind of stuff. Same with a Defender control panel, I've got that, and it's got the Stargate control layout amalgamated with the Defender layout. There's a Galaxian control panel, which is a two-way stick. That's going to be merged with Space Invaders, and so it's going to be Galaxian, Galaga, Space Invaders, anything Space Fighter, anything that had a dedicated two-way stick and a couple of buttons. We're going to be doing that. I'm also going to build a new dedicated trackball panel. At the moment, my trackball panel has a couple of joysticks and things like, so it's the trackball's in the middle of two sticks, which worked for what I wanted it to do. It's a mini trackball, but I'm going to get the HAP 3-inch trackball, which has got a bit of weight to it, which is what was in like Missile Command and things like that. And I'm going to do a kind of Missile Command type control panel. And it will be used, I'm not sure, I'm either going to do Missile Command or Centipede, I'm not sure which way I'm going yet, but it will be an amalgamation of those, and that will be the trackball. There'll be a dedicated spinner control panel, which will have things for like Tempest, Arkanoid, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to buy Ikari Warriors, the rotary sticks, proper rotary sticks. So there'll be an Ikari control panel. There's going to be a Battlezone control panel. I can't remember what else. I've already got a driving panel. That's pretty much going to stay as is. But you can see where I'm going. I'm basically rebuilding the control panels almost from scratch. I'm taking it all apart and doing it all again with upgraded controls. I'm going to use SuzoHap joysticks, probably leaf buttons and things like that. So everything's getting upgraded for a more authentic arcade experience, and it's going to look a lot better visually with the control panel overlays. I'm going to get those printed. I'm also going to buy a few different marquees. I've got a Real Commando and 10-yard fight original marquees that I kind of swap out every now and then. But I'm going to get reproductions of like 1942 and well, Shinobi and things like that. Games that I like, so that I can just swap them out every now and then. And I'm just going to upgrade a few bits and bobs on the arcade cab. So that's one part of the project, and those are fairly easy because I've got a standard template from a control panel. They're all the same size, and they use 25-pin connectors to do the control panel. So part of the arcade, the handmade arcade thing is going to be me showing you how my arcade cabinet was built. Now obviously it's built, so I kind of do a here's how I built it video, but I'm going to talk through it and how I came to design decisions and how it hangs together and all that kind of stuff. So there'll be a series of tutorials on building an arcade cabinet, referring to my actual one, talking about design and decisions that you make and all that kind of stuff. So that's one part of it. The second part of it is that I'm building a virtual pinball cabinet. I was going to do it with a TV that I had, but it turns out that it's a 50-inch TV, and that's far too big for a virtual pin. You really want about a 42-inch. That's about a comparative size to a real playfield on a real pinball machine. But I am not buying a new TV because I've got about 6 TVs that I've managed to salvage from various places out in the garage. So what I'm going to use is a 32-inch TV for the playfield. So it's going to be a sort of 3/4 size virtual pin. But I tried it out today. I went out to the garage, plugged up the PC and gave it a quick playthrough with it. It's sitting like a playfield. And it was absolutely fine. It felt big enough. It didn't feel too small. It felt big enough that you were getting a sort of authentic experience. And it was good enough for playing pinball. So we're going to be doing that. So there'll be lots of tutorials and videos on how I designed it and how we're going to build it. I haven't even started yet. I haven't ordered the wood. So all that will be coming. There'll be a complete kind of series on building the pinball cabinet. And then finally, the kind of last part of it will be me actually converting the garage, putting up the strapping, putting in the insulation, putting up the gyprock walls, lining it all, plastering it, painting it, all that kind of stuff, doing the electrics. I used to be an electrician, so dust off the old electrician's hat. So we'll be doing all that, talking about all that kind of stuff and how we're putting that together. And there's going to be some special electrics in there because ultimately the last thing that I'll be buying, once it's all done, because it's going to be floored and all that kind of stuff, once it's all done, the icing on the cake, the last bit I'm going to buy, and I can't make this myself, is a 7-foot pool table. So the room when it's finished is going to have a cupboard, which when you open it will have all the different control panels laid out for you to swap out into the arcade machine depending on what you want to play. There will be a virtual pinball cab, there will be my MAME arcade cab, there will be a 7-foot pool table, there will be a dartboard. So it's a kind of pub arcade setup. I did consider building another MAME cab, a vertical orientated MAME cab, because mine's is a horizontal. And I've got a Raspberry Pi that I've set up to do that. That might come later. Because I've got, at the end of the day, just now, I've got a cabinet that plays all the games, and I'd rather concentrate on what I have rather than building another version of what I've already got. So I've already got an arcade cabinet, I don't have a pinball machine, so I'm going to build a pinball machine so that I've got that and that'll be fine. So ultimately, when I get bored and I've done all this stuff, now this is going to take over a year to do all this stuff, it's not going to happen in the next couple of months. And once all that's done, I might go back and build another vertical orientated cab for shooters. I love my shooters like 1942 and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. There's a few things going on. But yeah, so that's about it. There's going to, like I say, there's going to be this new sub channel, the Handmade Arcade, and it's going to be talking about all the stuff that goes on in my head about designing cabinets and pinball machines and layouts and what you want to play and all that kind of gubbins. and the little things I've learned as I've been kind of researching videos and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so that's it. That's going to be it for this video, because I'm sure you're bored shitless already. So thanks very much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, whatever. Yeah, we'll do another video soon, hopefully, if I can think of anything else to talk about. So yeah, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, let me know in the comments, and I'll get back to you. So thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time.